Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever it is, wherever you are. We hope you're doing well. Mike and Arlen, our Philippine journey. Hey, today we're doing a little bit of a reaction video, not because for multiple reasons. And I think you'll see the parts and reasons why down the line. But I want to preface it by saying this: everybody is entitled to their opinion. Okay? Now, the most normal thing to do is to be able to support your opinion. Okay? And that's where I think we fall short, or they fall short in this particular instance. But that being said, we're going to take a look. We're going to watch this and we're going to comment. And we're going to see where it goes. Worst comes to worst, he's going to get more views and he'll benefit from it. And my opinion won't really matter. And it really doesn't anyways. But I thought it was interesting. So let's get started with this, why don't we?
Hello, good morning, and welcome to so many Americans that have looked at my last video. I appreciate your viewing efforts and also many of the comments. But today I'd like to comment on what
Now, I should point out, he specifically is addressing Americans here in the beginning. And he specifically identifies Americans further down.
I would really describe as the know-it-all kind of American. And I say American, I am picking on you guys, the ones that are very negative. And you, of course, you get them in every country. But
Now this is true. This is very true. There are different opinions from different people in every country. People are entitled to their opinions. Now, he claims it's to the know it all. But I think what would be better here is if he would give some examples as to who these know it alls are. Who is it is exactly got your coffee and feathers all ruffled this morning? Let's because every American that sees this that doesn't agree with everything that you say is a target. And that's a pretty big pool of people, because I think that if you look at your statistics, I think you're going to find out, and your statistics are available online, you're going to find out that the vast majority of your watchers are American.
given, as I say, a lot of you are Americans. And some of you might like to admit that you do tend to think you know everything. Well, I'm afraid it's not good when you pick on your own kind, in a way, because there are a few out there that sit there in their little ivory towers suggesting that we should do what Thailand does here in the Philippines, and that is make the bar higher. In other words, let's get rid of the people who have worked hard in the workplace, the blue collar workers, the labourers, the hard working Americans, and
That's kind of interesting. I guess he thinks that the only people who work hard are blue collar labor. Um, last I looked, jobs all have stress. Jobs all have hours. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are exceptions to every rule, but hey, are you saying that the fireman, who, because he's not manual labor, doesn't work hard? Are you saying the policeman that doesn't work hard? Are you saying that, uh, gee, I could, nurses don't work hard. Is that what you're saying? That only hardworking people are the blue collar laborers? Are you serious?
And English and Australians and from any other country who, dare I say, only get a state pension. Not everybody has the opportunity to join the armed forces in America.
Let's stop there for just a second. Who only get a state pension. So let me kind of help you figure out how pensions work a little bit in the United States. If an individual receives a state pension, okay, that means they're getting money from the state. In addition to that money that they get, they also get Social Security. Now, that means that they were, in all likelihood, a state employee. Every state has a employee pension plan. Not all pension plans are the same. And that's also something I don't think he takes into account. In addition to that, city municipalities often have pension plans. Okay? It's very possible that somebody works for the city government and they are in the city government's pension plan, but they still get Social Security. And what I don't believe that I'll get into, you know what? I'll get into that in just a few minutes.
And yes, be the world's policeman.
Oh, yes, I forgot. He thinks we're the world's policeman. We've been called that, certainly. And we've been involved in enough conflicts to probably, rightfully so, make that accusation. I would, I don't believe that that's the case. All right. But that's beside the point. Again, he's entitled to his opinion.
But it was your choice to join the services. Now, you might.
No, that's not true. There are a lot of vets, a good number of vets here in the Philippines. They were drafted. Okay? The draft existed. Mandatory service, mandatory recall. Okay? Even I was part of the selective service sign up.
Have to say, was it because you felt a patriotic reason to join? Or was it maybe your family were in the army or the forces? Great, I have no problem with that. But remember, when you come out damaged, you also come out with a very hefty amount of money as compensation for that offer to add service to your family and your country.
And what's the problem with this? You feel that America pays its veterans too much for the loss of a limb or for any other workplace related injury? Last I looked, the UK, Australia. I can't figure out exactly where this guy is from. I haven't looked at it enough to really know what passport he holds. But that being said, they all have workers' compensation too.
And you're not in the same league as those that are on what you call SS or Social Security payments.
Okay, there's another interesting scenario. Now, there's a study out there that says that 40% of the people who receive Social Security, it is the only form of income they receive. And then there are multiple studies out there that show that Social Security is only 16.9%. 16.9% of the income, only 16.9% of the people who receive Social Security in U.S. Social Security receive that as their sole source of income. In America, things are not exactly how you think they are.
Of course, when you're in America or in Australia, you can get housing assistance, you can get uh, electricity assistance. All that sort of thing happens in most countries in the West. But to
And your point would be, I don't understand.
suggest that you now uh, think that the Philippines should get away with the extended tourist visa, which
And this is the crux of his argument here. This is what's really crawling at him right now. All right? He doesn't like that.
is one of the main reasons why foreigners from all parts of the world come here to the Philippines. It enables you to renew it every 2 months or 6 months, up to a period of 3 years, which is not offered by other countries. Originally, there were much more freer access to Thailand and places like that. But
Now, that's true. And I'm not sure why he's heading that direction. Maybe it's just because he lives here. All right. But I will tell you, you don't go get a permanent visa in Australia or the UK without a financial sponsor. Somebody has to represent that they'll be responsible for you financially. Okay. You're not going to get on a plane like he did, fly to another country like he did, and get permanent residence like he can, which he'll talk about later. And yeah, I would wonder, I know he has a partner. I've looked at some of his vids. I don't know if he's married or not, but he could be a 13A. He could be an SRRV, or he could be just doing immigration runs. But either way, that's the way it is in many other countries.
they've closed their doors. Why? Because they want the Filipino and the Australians and the English. They don't want them anymore. They want the rich. Yes, the ones, the big shots.
So that was really interesting. So just as a matter of fact, we were in Thailand 2 weeks ago, going on 3 weeks now. 3 weeks ago, we were in Thailand. And I can tell you that it's the same now as it was pre-pandemic, as it was in 2015, 2016. And the vast majority of foreigners you see in Thailand are tourists. Of course, they outnumber the permanent residents. But when you take a look at what's walking down the street in all of the major cities, in Bangkok, in Pattaya, in Phuket, in Chiang Mai, all right, you're going to find out it's not the Americans that they want. It's the Asians, the rich Asians, the Koreans, and the Chinese.
On a pension from Australia? No, from America. Because America pays a massive amount of pension over above Social Security. And
Okay, now here's where I have the first problem. That's misinformation. And it's misinformation with respect to how he defines it. Okay? In every modern pension plan existing in the United States of America right now, with the exception of a few, you as an individual contribute into that plan. Money out of your paycheck goes into that plan. As he says later down the road, you don't get nothing for nothing. All right? The old 1960s era type stuff of the 20-year, get a golden watch or whatever, and this huge pension. Those days were what was called a defined benefit plan, a DBP. All right. Pensions actually are much different. There are multiple types of pension payments and pension plans. So that's the first issue. The second issue is that most pension plans are 401ks, IRA Roths, straight IRAs, all of which the individual funds all, if not a majority of. For instance, in one of the businesses that I owned, we funded and matched 50% of what the employee put in. In other places, I have friends that didn't put a penny in and didn't get anything. They had to put in money into their own IRA. In other places that I had friends, they would put money into a 401k within that company. All right. So you've got all that goes in pre-tax. But when we take that money out, we get taxed on it. Okay. There's no, every penny that comes out pays taxes. That's the idea of deferred taxes and the deferred value of money, because your idea is that you're living on less than you were making. The second thing is Social Security. I can't speak for a lot of people. I can't speak for anybody because I really don't know. But I can speak for myself. I have paid into Social Security far more than I will ever receive. Far more. Over a long period of time. And if you know the time value of money and compounding money, I would have been much better had I had even a 6% return on that money for 40 years. All right? So nothing is for nothing. You're right. The federal government gets something. Pensions in the United States are only what you made of them. You don't get a pension on top of Social Security, just so you know. All right. And I'm sure he does know this. I just think he kind of gumbled it up a little bit. And quite frankly, the average Social Security check as of 2021 was $1,580. And I think the average as of 2022 was about $1,800 US dollars. Okay. But these are people that have been putting money into Social Security, because you remember, in Social Security, your employer funds part of it and the employee funds part of it. Okay? That's part of those FICA taxes, my friend.
Those in the minority, that's you guys, with your $5,000 and $6,000 and $7,000 a month. Of course you can live like a king here.
And your point would be that the more money you have, the better you can live. I thought this whole thing was saying you don't need to live better. Well, first off, doesn't really matter. Again, he's entitled to his opinion. But why would it matter how other people live? You don't want other people to live a better life? Would you behoove all of those people who live in Bel Air? I mean, you want to talk about the top of the top of the top of the crust, all right? In Makati, there are 4 villages of Bel Air. There might be 5 now. I can't remember. There are homes in there that go for millions and millions and millions of US dollars. You're not going to get those on Social Security. Do you tell them that it's not fair or right that they should make so much more money than other people? Oh, I don't think so.
Here in the Philippines, you can fly back and forth. You can do all sorts of things that the average retiree cannot even contemplate doing.
And I'm not so sure about that. The average retiree, I'm not sure how he gets that defined notion, but I do know where we live here in Angeles. Okay. Well, first off, we have we have a condo here in Angeles, and we have a home in Mindanao. And there are no foreigners in our province in Mindanao that I've met that are permanent residents. So throw that out the book. And then let's turn around and sit there and say, here in Angeles, where we live in Angeles, we know a lot of retirees because we are in the most densely populated retiree expat population of Angeles. And they go home quite often. I have a good buddy of mine, retired. He's been to the States twice in the past year. I've been to the States. I have another friend that's been to the States and to Thailand, retired. I have another buddy that has been to the States twice. And we have the list goes on. We have friends that are leaving for the States soon. I don't know where he gets this information. There are plenty of retirees that have money to travel. All of the people that went to Thailand on this most recent trip with us, we're all retired. All of us. And we went in a large group, all retired. And our next trip, probably as a group again, might be to Boracay, although we've been there so many times. All right. Singapore is another place we're looking at. What is the big deal? I don't get it.
They will come with what savings they have, $50,000, $100,000 that they come with when they come with their pension here from Australia, England, or New Zealand, or some parts of Europe. We're not as fortunate to be given, and I say given, the golden watch.
There we go, that golden watch. Nobody gave us, you know what? The friends that I have all worked. They worked hard. They started at the bottom and they worked their way up. All right? They went to school. They got educated. They held jobs all over the country and all over the world. They spent time away from their families. All right? Nothing is free. And they made money. Big deal. I don't consider that lucky. I consider that an effort of planning for the future.
You get when you retire from the military. The military.
Okay, so here we go. When you get from retiring from the military. Well, you know what? I'm not exactly sure on all of the rules of military retirement pensions. But here's what I do know. First off, your pension, your retirement pension from the U.S. military is based on years of service, years in rate, and years in rank. All right? That's first off. Second off, it's a percentage of that formula that you get. For instance, or that formula comes up with a percentage of your pay that you're going to get for the rest of your life. And, you know, I can't say this any other way. Tough cookies, buddy. Let me tell you something. You think that vets don't deserve their retirement? You think they shouldn't get? Some of those vets went into the military because they didn't have a choice. They were drafted, and so they stayed. Some of those vets joined because they had no other way out to make a living. They came from poor families that could not put them through school, and they saw that as an avenue to get further education and further training. Some of the people that are watching your videos, they may have had children or siblings that are vets or would be vets if they were still alive. Thank you for your service. What about the time they had to spend away from their children, their families? Were they home when their kids had birthdays? Were they there when their mother passed away? You are an offensive, or you're just naive. And I'm going to go with naive. I've got a lot of friends that are both British and Australian. I know he's one, but I'm not sure exactly which. And their sense of conversation can be very offensive without them meaning to be that way. That's not just telling it like it is. It's not caring how you tell it.
Country also has a privileged opportunity to live here in the Philippines. I say privileged because for the likes of myself, if I wish to stay here permanently, I have two options. One is I have to marry a Filipina, or I have to put $10,000 into.
Okay. Didn't you know that before you got here? Didn't you do your research? You're complaining because that's the only way you can get here? You know, you can keep doing visa runs for the rest of your life, bud. You can go through that 3 years of getting extensions, hop on a plane for $150 round trip, go to Singapore, spend the night. You don't even have to spend the night. Spend 8 hours in Singapore. You don't even have to leave the airport. Oh, actually, you do. You have to leave the airport to get the stamp and then stamp back, come back in. You don't have to leave the building. You just have to exit the arrivals area and go back to the departures area. You can do that once every 3 years. Life is just such a bitch, isn't it?
To an account here for the Philippines government to hold unless I want to buy a condominium, which is a downward step because it's money down the drain. If you buy a condominium, you buy a building that you don't know how well it's been built, and also you buy a continuous stream of maintenance that you have no control over.
Now, I'll give him credit where credit's due on this. And you know, there are parts of what he's saying that are true too. Again, and his opinion is valuable. Keep that in mind. I'm not arguing with his opinion. Okay? But with respect to condo, house, rental, ownership, these are all individual things that suit individual needs. We prefer our full-time residents in Angeles City. And in Angeles City, we prefer to live in a condo because, quite frankly, there's always somebody around. It's not a house sitting all by itself waiting to get broken into. We have 24-hour security. I have a gym upstairs. As you can tell, I don't use it, or the treadmill behind me. All right. And in turn, we have a doorman, we have guards, we have front desk and management, all 24/7, including a pool and the things that go, 2 restaurants and the things that go with it. Yeah, life is good. Or let me rephrase it. Life isn't bad. Not for us. I'm sorry I didn't retire on $1,500 a month.
So it's not a good investment. And yes, you can lease money, but you can't.
Oh, that reminds me. In addition to that, the house in Mindanao, I pretty much have a guard because I have to let a family member live in one of the spare bedrooms so that it's always being watched. We have 24-hour CCTV cameras outside and inside. Okay? There are property taxes, city taxes, province taxes, whatever you want to call them. All right? And over there, you know, things are a little different. We have to pay the barangay, pay the police, and pay the fire departments just to stay in grace because that's what they need equipment too. And then finally, I love this one part. I'm going to come back to this when it gets more important.
Lease land from a Filipino to build a home on. But remember, you can't lease it from a family friend. So therefore it has to be from a complete stranger. And therefore you are also paying a lot of money for that lease. Nothing is for nothing. So guys, get off your horse and come down and join the people, the real people who come here to the Philippines to retire. Not the ones that come over for a holiday to enjoy the women and leave them heartbroken when they go back, once they've spent their holiday period.
Complain, complain, complain. You know what? You don't have to come to the Philippines to leave a woman heartbroken. Okay? You can leave her heartbroken in your own country. Really? Come on.
2-3 months here and promise them the world. But deal with the reality of life. Guys, burst your bubble. Start to realize that people come to these countries like the Philippines to have a genuine retirement, and they do it in droves, because $2,000 American is enough to live here relatively easily, and you can, if you're careful, save. And stop telling us that we can't have a good life in terms of food.
Okay, let's move on here to just this simple thing. First off, $2,000 a month. You know what? You can live almost anywhere in the world on $2,000 a month. How you choose to live, that's a different story. Okay? What is it that you choose to live under? What kind of conditions do you live under? You can live in beautiful conditions in the province. If you had that initial amount of money to build a decent house, which, assuming you were smart enough to do it the right way, okay? And with respect to land, property, ownership, and the actual construction and engineering that goes with it, right? Great. But my point there is that living and existing are two different things. I could live where I live now on $2,000 a month if I had to. I think I could. All right, but it'd be within a studio apartment, not a 2-bedroom, 2-bath. Okay, and I'd be spending most of my time in those 4 walls, and I'd be able to travel once a year, maybe here and there, and maybe go out to dinner once a week, twice a week. Sure. And if I was willing to eat only Filipino food, I could do a lot more. But you see, what people are willing to do, that really isn't a big deal, is it? Because it's what they're entitled to. It's what they earned the right to do. And you're saying that those people that have earned the right can't tell other people it's possible for them to do so as well.
And options available to us if we don't earn $5,000 or $7,000 per month. You guys sometimes are just dreamers, and the one.
You're darn right we're dreamers. We've been dreamers since we were kids. We thought about it. We dreamed of reaching a goal somewhere in our lives. That's what makes the difference. We are dreamers, and we were dreamers, and we dreamed of becoming sufficient, and we made it.
Ones that follow me and have supported this channel know that what I'm saying is true. So, and where do I get my information from? Boots on the ground. Remember, you guys The ones that sit in your little armchairs under your mother's house.
It's kind of offensive. I wish I could sit in an armchair and my mother was just right upstairs. Okay? I miss my mother a lot.
With your every need catered for by your dear mother. Just remember, we are here on the ground doing the hard yard.
You should have been doing the hard yard before you got there. You should have saved your money. You should not have wasted your money. And I don't think you did. I don't think you did. I think you worked hard and you're entitled to it. But don't tell people that they aren't entitled to it otherwise. And don't tell people that they shouldn't let the government of the Philippines decide what it should do to improve its infrastructure and what it takes for all of the people that live here. You would deny income to the Philippines that they could use to help Filipinos. I don't think so, buddy.
And we're living a good life, but we're being careful with our money. So, to all of those guys out there that support the channel, who are being realistic, I congratulate you at coming here, and I hope you have a great time and that you meet the right person. But those that dream away at coming here and spending $5,000 to $7,000 a month, they are just plain dreamers.
Well, if they have $5,000 to $7,000 a month to spend, why are they dreaming? Those are people that are doing it. You make no sense.
And if they aren't, they're very, very lucky that they should remind themselves they're part of maybe 1% of the whole group of expats here that have that kind of money to spend, to waste.
Yeah, that's true. And you know something? I have great expat friends that are nowhere near as socioeconomically positioned as I am. And I have expat friends that are far, far better socioeconomically positioned than we are. So what? What does that have to do with anything? Why are you focusing on money of expats? Why?
To enjoy their time here in the Philippines. I hope that hasn't sparked too much anger.
I'm certain he hopes it sparked a lot of anger. You see, this is the third thing that gets to me. He knows it's drama that drives views and participation. So that's fine too. And I wish him the best of luck, and I hope his channel grows, and I hope he and his partner make a ton of money and that he lives life as happy as it can be. He's entitled to his opinions. I just don't agree with him. But give me that thumbs up too, please.
Thumbs up, please. Don't forget to subscribe. And you have a nice day on your $7,000 a month.
Oh, I plan on it. Thank you very much. That reminds me, I need to make reservations for dinner.
Bye now.